Chapter 2021, In Time. She could sacrifice her life for the country and her people, but she would not let her daughter do the same. Shi Qing laughed. Sister Zihua, it looks like you aren't even as open-minded as the old chief and auntie. At that time, both you and brother Zai wanted to enter the military and neither of them tried to stop you. Parents are all the same. She had refused to get married and had only wanted to stay in the military. The only reason her mother had disagreed was that she had been worried that life in the military would be too tough and dangerous. She might even lose her life at any time. Jia had it better than her. At that time, she had no other choice. If she had not entered the military, the Feng family would have had all control over her life. Jia did not need to enter the military. Even if she did not become a soldier, she could still have the choice of having a better life. Jia was truly a fortunate child. Zihua was stunned for a moment before she caressed Jia's hair. That's right. Only when you become a mom will you be able to understand a mom's heart. I love Jia so much. All I want is for her to live a peaceful life. Mom, you're being selfish. Jia huffed. I have the right to pursue my own dreams. Although, do you really think it's weird that I have such thoughts since both my parents were once soldiers? Don't try to bully me with something I said when I was younger. You were the one who cheated me into saying that. Ha ha ha, Jia was as spicy as a small chili, amusing Shi Qing to no end. Jia's right. Everyone has the right to pursue their own dreams. When you're older and still want to become a soldier, I'll take you under my wings as long as you pass the physical examination. Jia was pleased. Thank you, Auntie Shi Qing. You're here to attend my uncle's wedding, right? I'll take you to your seat. Since this auntie had such a close relationship with her mom, it should be all right for her to bring this auntie to their family's table. Mom, you can take care of something else. I'll help you look after Auntie Shi Qing. Zihua did not know what to do with Jia. She had finally understood why she had managed to win against her parents to marry Weida in the end, even though her parents had been entirely against the idea. In front of their children, parents were always on the losing end. I bet you're happy now. Do you not care about your mother now that you have Auntie Shi Qing? Fine, you should play a part as part of the family and take good care of your auntie. It was just as well since Shi Qing had wanted to meet the bride. After so many years, she had no idea how Shi Qing's temper was. While they were younger, Shi Qing had not had a good temper. If Shi Qing were to get emotional upon seeing Qiaonan and get into a fight, the wedding might not even happen. It was exactly because she was good friends with Shi Qing that she would have to keep a close eye on Shi Qing to prevent Shi Qing from ruining Qiaonan's wedding. Zihua winked at Jia, who was taken aback. Could that be true? Did Auntie Shi Qing really like her uncle? She had been wondering why this auntie was still single after such a long time, since she was quite a good catch, and why no one had introduced Auntie Shi Qing to her uncle. It seemed as though it had already been done in the past. After leading Shi Qing to her seat, Jia could not help but ask out of curiosity. Auntie Shi Qing, do you mind me asking a few questions? Go ahead. She was not blind and had seen Sister Zihua winking at Jia earlier. Are you married? Do you have any children? Her mom's concerns were probably unnecessary. Even if Auntie Shi Qing did have feelings for her uncle was getting married today. Besides, Auntie Shi Qing did not look young anymore. There could not be many people like her uncle and Auntie Qiao who waited to get married only at this age. If Auntie Shi Qing was married with children, there was no way she would ruin her uncle and Auntie Qiao's wedding. Her mom was overthinking this matter. Shi Qing purposely tried to scare Jia by knocking Jia on her head. I'm not young anymore. I heard that I'm even a few months older than the bride. Unfortunately, I'm still unmarried, and of course, I don't have any children. I don't even have a partner. How's that, Jia? Do you want to introduce me to a man like your uncle? Jiajia felt extremely awkward upon hearing such a reply. How was she supposed to reply to that? Auntie Shi Qing, are you kidding me? I'm just a child. I don't even know many people. How could I possibly recommend someone suitable to you? Besides, Auntie Shi Qing had even requested to be introduced to a man as good as her uncle. That was way beyond her abilities. Her uncle was one and only. She would never be able to find another one in this world. As the pair chatted, Xiao Dongliang perked his ears up to listen in on the conversation. Since this lady had been given a seat at the host's table, it meant that this woman was close to the Zai family. Although the Zai family was bigger than the Qiao family, they did not have many relatives. After a long time, Xiao Dongliang still had not figured out who Shi Qing was. The bride's here. Shi Qing had not even needed to look for Qiao Nan since she would appear once the time was right. Following that voice, Shi Qing quickly restrained herself and stopped teasing Jiajia. Her gaze shifted before landing on a graceful woman dressed in bright red. Yes, she was all right. At least, this woman looked much more pleasing to the eye than Chu Chenxi. But what made Shi Qing convinced and sure was Zai Sheng's gaze toward the bride. She could not help but acknowledge Qiao Nan's existence. Her innocent first love had happened more than 2 decades alone, and this was the first time Shi Qing felt that she could finally let go of her feelings and end her single-sided love. If Zai Sheng had looked at his first bride as he had today, Shi Qing felt that she would probably have given up then. She had never expected this scene to be delayed for more than 10 years. Brother Zai, congratulations! I hope you will lead a blissful life with your wife and have children as soon as possible. Shi Qing stood up and walked toward Zai Sheng with 2 glasses of wine in her hands, raising a toast to him. Zai Sheng was rather surprised to see Shi Qing. Weren't you in the capital? You're here now. You're my dad's one and only disciple, so you're my brother too. Of course, I have to attend your wedding. You're so mean. How could you not have told me about your wedding? I had to find out about it from others. I barely made it here from the capital. If I was a couple of hours late, I might not even have made it in time for your wedding. Yes, Shi Qing had heard about Zai Sheng's wedding from someone else. As such, Shi Qing had made hasty arrangements, left all her work behind, and had rushed down to Pingcheng just to attend Zai Sheng and Qiao Nan's wedding. Chapter 2022, Generation N. Zai Sheng smiled graciously. We only informed a few of our friends in Pingcheng about this wedding. As for all those in the capital, you don't have to worry. It's easy to attend a wedding. We'll just hold another one when we return to the capital. Don't you think it's troublesome to hold 2 weddings? Shi Qing was curious. The brother Zai in her memories hated such events. He tried his best to avoid attending such events, and even if he had to, he would try his best to attend as few of such events as possible. Zai Sheng did not say much but immediately glanced at Qiao Nan, who was standing beside him, after hearing Shi Qing's question. Then, he answered very calmly. It isn't that much of a trouble to hold another wedding. Shi Qing turned toward Qiao Nan. That meant that anything the person standing next to him said was right, and he was willing to accept something that he hated the most in the past. Hello, I'm Shi Qing. Brother Zai's my senior. I'm really happy for you two that you're getting married. You should lead a good life in the future. Brother Zai had finally met the right person. Even though that person was not her, she was still happy for him. Qiao Nan smiled widely with upturned lips. Thank you. We will. So, you have to lead a blissful life too. Both in her dream and in reality, Shi Qing had liked Zai Sheng. And in both lifetimes, Shi Qing had graciously congratulated her after confirming Zai Sheng's feelings for her. Shi Qing was still Shi Qing whether it was in her dream or in reality. Will we still have the chance to meet each other in the future? Could she be best friends with Shi Qing like she had been in her dream? Qiao Nan's words made Zai Hua feel weak. It was better to avoid such situations. Even though she did not think that Shi Qing would become someone like Xu Jinxi, it was still better to reduce the frequency of their meetings given Shi Qing's feelings toward Zai Sheng. What if she changed her mind because of the frequent meetings? Just focus on being a happy bride. There's no need to concern yourself with anything else. You will be happy. Shi Qing shook her head. She was still in the midst of letting go of her feelings for Brother Zai. Before she did so, she could not make any promises to the bride. Shi Qing did not want to torture Qiaonan or hurt Qiaonan. At the same time, she wished to liberate herself. As such, Shi Qing had no intention of being friends with Qiaonan, who was in such a sensitive position. As long as Qiaonan could bring Zai Sheng happiness, she would try her best to keep her distance from the couple so as to ensure the safety of all three of them. Brother Zai, I was in a little bit of a hurry when I left, so there are still quite a few things that I left undone in the military. After this wedding, I'll have to rush back. I hope you won't mind it. When you hold another wedding in the capital, I'll be sure to attend it. After raising a toast to Zai Sheng, Shi Qing stood up to take her leave. By the way, Brother Zai, you must pay attention to your safety on such a joyous occasion. Don't let any unimportant people ruin your day. I'm not sure how long I'll be able to hold them off for with my little tricks. With that, Shi Qing rushed off. She had not even stayed for half an hour. The moment Shi Qing left, Zai Hua and Jiajia heaved a sigh of relief. Very quickly, Zai Hua came to her senses. Zai Sheng, what did Shi Qing mean by that? Did Shi Qing say that someone would come to make trouble at Zai Sheng and Qiaonan's wedding? Qiaonan was a little discouraged by Shi Qing's rejection, and she frowned upon hearing Zai Hua's words. Could it be? Given the Zai family's status, none of their friends or family, even their enemies, would choose such a day to make a din. As such, the only person that came to mind was someone from the Qiao family. Qiaonan turned immediately to look at Qiao Dongliang. The father and daughter seemed to have returned from their trance and thought of the same two people simultaneously. Qiao Dongliang took a deep breath and looked apologetically at Zai Sheng. Why don't I go have a look? I'm so sorry for always causing you trouble. Nan Nan was finally getting married to Zai Sheng today. Not only had the Qiao family not been able to help the Zai family out in the preparations, but they had even come to cause even more trouble. Qiao Dongliang felt so ashamed that he couldn't bear to continue sitting there to enjoy the wedding, especially in the presence of the Zai family. Qiao Dongliang felt that he could not even lift his head to face them. Zai Sheng was getting married and the bride was an unmarried old lady, Qiaonan, from the northern courtyard. The news had spread like wildfire across the entire quad. Quite a few neighbors from the northern courtyard had wanted to attend the wedding. This would probably be their only chance to enter the southern courtyard and see all those important people in their lives. Unfortunately, Qiaonan had not planned on organizing a large-scale wedding. Firstly, neither she nor Zai Sheng was young. They knew that there were likely to be more people attending their wedding just to watch a good show instead of truly blessing them. Secondly, Qiaonan was no good child in other people's eyes. On the contrary, she was the epitome of a bad child. It was not just her character that was bad. She was simply bad. Besides, Qiaonan had moved out into her own rented apartment. As such, Qiaonan was not that close with those neighbors in the northern courtyard. Even if they bumped into each other from time to time, these neighbors would always shake their heads, expressing their embarrassment at Qiaonan's incompetence. Qiaonan did not deliberately try to remember these bad memories, but they were hard to forget. Now that she was finally getting married, Qiaonan naturally did not wish for these people who represented her worst memories to show up at her wedding. But because she was getting married to Zai Sheng, these neighbors had completely changed their stance. This change in stance did not make Qiaonan feel proud, but instead, disgusted. She had never had a good reputation in the northern courtyard. She might not even live in Pingcheng after her marriage, much less in the northern courtyard. There was really no point in letting these outsiders, whom she would never get in contact with again, ruin her most joyous day in her life. In that way, most of the guests at the wedding were from the groom's side. Xiao Dongliang seemed to be the only person representing the bride's guests. There was really no need to invite all those neighbors from the northern courtyard. And neither did it matter if they were to talk about them. But to not allow Ding Ji and Xiao Zijin, who were Xiao Nan's biological mother and sister, to attend seemed a little too harsh. Chapter 2023, Making a Trip Here. Even if Xiao Nan didn't inform the two of them when she was getting married, Ding Ji and Xiao Zijin didn't need to spend too much effort to find out about this since they were all in the same quad. How would Ding Ji and Xiao Zijin be willing to be absent from such an important day? Furthermore, they felt that in today's wedding, aside from the bride and groom, they were the ones who shouldn't be absent the most. Especially after knowing that Xiao Dongliang went to the wedding, Ding Ji and Xiao Zijin went over to make their presence known as well. Coincidentally, Shi Qing bumped into them. When she heard the argument between Ding Ji and Xiao Zijin, Shi Qing guessed that these two noisy women were the bride's relatives. However, their attitudes really made Shi Qing dislike them. Shi Qing wasn't someone ordinary. When most people encountered this situation, upon hearing that the bride was getting married but she didn't even invite her birth mother and sister, they would think that the bride was too overboard. They were family. Why couldn't they say things properly? Must she be so heartless that they couldn't even be relatives? Shi Qing herself met such extreme relatives before. She could no longer accept the Feng family as relatives. As such, when such a situation was encountered, Shi Qing wouldn't be like most people and push all the responsibilities and problems to Xiao Nan. Xiao Zijin and Ding Ji were too arrogant. They felt that since Xiao Nan married Zai Sheng, they were considered to be royal relatives in the quad and everyone had to give them face. Seeing Xiao Zijin's and Ding Ji's attitude while speaking, Shi Qing's first reaction was to let others know how embarrassing it was for Zai Sheng to have such relatives. Today was Zai Sheng's big day as well. At least, the two of them shouldn't kick up a fuss and ruin the happy atmosphere. As such, Shi Qing made a call and sent Xiao Zijin and Ding Ji to the police station. They didn't have any criminal records and their act of harassment was limited. After finding someone who could bail them out, they could be let out within a few hours. When these two came out from the police station, Shi Qing couldn't confirm if Zai Sheng's wedding banquet had ended. As such, she shared this with Zai Sheng in advance. Furthermore, someone had to bail that mother-daughter pair out of the police station. In this way, this matter seemed to have something to do with the bride again. Zai Sheng understood it immediately. Okay, I'll take note of this. It has been tough on you. Zai Sheng knew that Shi Qing was still single and he didn't have any intention to persuade Shi Qing. One had to know that before he met Xiao Nan, he was in the same situation as well. As such, Zai Sheng knew clearly that it wasn't that Shi Qing really didn't want to get married. It was just that she hadn't met the person she wanted to get married to. If it wasn't this person, then it wasn't important if Shi Qing got married or not. A marriage could result in a divorce until the appearance of that person who could really make her settle down. Since he knew this answer, Zai Sheng didn't say anything so as not to embarrass Shi Qing. Goodbye. Be careful on the roads. I wish you happiness. No, Brother Zai no longer needed her blessing. She could tell that as long as he stood next to that woman, Brother Zai was already full of happiness. Shi Qing couldn't tell if the most fortunate person in this wedding was the bride who married Brother Zai or Zai Sheng who finally married his bride. Perhaps, happiness should be like this kind of relationship. She knew that it wasn't appropriate for her to speak at this time. Who asked her to no longer be Shi Qing's best friend now, but she was still Shi Qing's love rival. Xiao Nan didn't expect Shi Qing to actually be in the same situation as her now that Zhu Baoqiu was gone. She was an old woman in her 40s but could stay single until today. Xiao Nan knew it too clearly in her heart who it was for that Shi Qing had such persistence. In her dreams, if she hadn't known Shi Qing early, they wouldn't have become friends in junior high school. It was then that she slowly exerted a subtle influence on Shi Qing and got her to understand things. Otherwise, Shi Qing wouldn't have let go of Zai Sheng so easily. Without these premises in this lifetime, Shi Qing's feelings for Zai Sheng would only be deeper than those in her dreams. Zai Sheng held Jiao Nan's shoulders. "It's all right. Everything will get better." He had already found his own happiness. He believed that happiness was naturally waiting not far away for a good woman like Shi Qing. Leaning against Zai Sheng, Jiao Nan asked, "She's so good. Why didn't you have such a thought?" She had really appeared too late in this lifetime. It was so late that her first reaction after the car accident was that the Zai Sheng in this world should have long married and had children. She and Zai Sheng would naturally become two parallel lines that could never meet. Even if Chu Chenxi wasn't a good person, Shi Qing was a really good woman. She was someone who could make men fall in love with her. Both of them had been single for so many years, but in this lifetime and at this age, Zai Sheng had not gotten together with Shi Qing. Jiao Nan didn't expect this at all. Zai Sheng couldn't help but kiss Jiao Nan's forehead. "Because you're better. I have always been waiting for your appearance." Jiao Nan, who was leaning in Zai Sheng's arms, didn't say anything. If Zai Sheng really got together with Shi Qing, the person upset today would naturally be her. Everyone was selfish. No one was willing to give up the happiness at their fingertips to others. The only thing she could do was to pray silently that although Zhu Baoqiu was gone, a good woman like Shi Qing could still meet a man as good as Zhu Baoqiu in this lifetime. This person would take good care of her for the rest of her life and shelter her from the wind and rain. Jiao Nan followed Zai Sheng with peace of mind and gave a toast to the Zai family's relatives and friends. Thankfully, the people invited by the Zai family knew their limits well. None of them said any words of jealousy at this moment. Once they saw Jiao Nan, they complimented her for her good looks and that she looked extremely compatible with Zai Sheng. Seeing that Jiao Nan had such a treatment in the Zai family, the person who felt most at ease was undoubtedly Qiao Dongliang. Before taking a few bites of the dishes, Qiao Dongliang felt that he could really rest assured this time and he no longer had to worry about Jiao Nan's life in the future. Qiao Dongliang stood up and took out the phone that had been ringing for a while. He ran to a quieter corner to pick up the call. "Hello. May I check who you? I'm from the Public Security Bureau of the South Pingcheng Bureau." The other party went by the books and shared with Qiao Dongliang what had happened. "Your lover and daughter want to return. They need you to come to the bureau to do the procedures. Is it convenient for you to do so now?" These two women were unlucky as well. It was a big shot from the capital who had reported them. Otherwise, they could have just persuaded them for such a small matter. How was there a need to bring them to the police station and do so many procedures? Chapter 2024, Settling Scores. Qiao Dongliang pulled down his eyebrows. So it's like that. To think that he thought the two of them were somewhat more humane today. Even if they wanted to continue making trouble for Nan Nan, they would have chosen another day and be more restrained today. It turned out that this mother-daughter pair didn't appear as they were stuck at the bureau. It wasn't that they didn't want to come. It was that they couldn't come. No matter what Jiao Zijin and Ding Jiyi were thinking, today was Jiao Nan's big day. Qiao Dongliang still had some persistence. "Police officer, I'm sorry. I'm a little busy now and can't make my way. Can I go over after an hour?" The police officer at the other end frowned. At this moment, shouldn't it be more important to get people out of the police station? Why wait for another hour? "Okay, come over immediately after an hour and fetch them away. No matter how small the matter, we can only keep them at the station if the procedures are not done. Don't worry. This isn't troublesome at all. The procedures are not complicated either. You can fetch them away after signing the documents." "Okay, thank you. Police officer, when can we go?" Once she saw the police officer hang up the phone, Ding Jiyi stepped forward and asked carefully. At this age, apart from the time Jiao Nan was hit by a car, this was the first time she entered a police station in this capacity. Seeing that everyone in the police station looked stern, Ding Jiyi felt panicked and wanted to leave this place quickly. Not only did Ding Jiyi feel this way, but Jiao Zijin did too. In the past when she was still Chen Jun's wife, she liked to come to such places. Even if it was the Pingcheng Public Security Bureau, she could walk in openly and let everyone address her respectfully as Mrs. Commissioner, let alone a small police branch. However, after the divorce with Chen Jun, there was no doubt that such a treatment was naturally gone. Forget it that she was no longer Mrs. Commissioner. She was even arrested today. Upon thinking that she was invited to the police station as she was creating trouble, Jiao Zijin felt angry. Who was so wicked? She was just going to attend her birth sister's wedding. Why was she arrested by the police? Could it be that Jiao Nan was the one who called the police to arrest her and her mom? Wait for a while. Your lover said that he's busy now. He'll come over an hour later to fetch you and your daughter away. The police officer relayed Jiao Dongliang's exact words to Ding Jiyi. As a couple, upon hearing that his wife was in the police station, his tone and attitude weren't nervous at all. He even said that he would arrive an hour later. He could tell that this couple didn't have a good relationship. An hour later, Ding Jiyi's face couldn't help but turn green. She didn't want to stay in a broken place like the police station for another minute longer. Can I trouble you to give him a call again? I'll tell him personally to come over immediately and fetch us back. If they waited for another hour, by the time old Jiao completed the procedures and brought her and Zijin back, Jiao Nan's wedding and banquet would have been over. Her daughter was going to marry the chief. As the only birth mother of the bride, how could she be absent? Why are you kicking up a fuss? Do you think the police station is your home? Don't you have a phone? We're not restricting you from contacting the outside world. If you want to call, use your own phone. The police officer was unhappy. They were already in the police station but dared to speak louder than them. No wonder someone would call the police and send this mother-daughter pair over. As soon as the police reminded them, Ding Jiyi sat back next to Jiao Zijin. My mobile number is in arrears. Zijin, you call your dad. Jiao Zijin frowned. If it's in arrears, pay the bill. This is a small matter. Unless you're not going to use your phone anymore, you will have to pay the bill sooner or later. Why did she have to use her phone to make this call? A call would only cost a few cents. She had given her mom a few tens of thousands yuan. Could it be that she was unwilling to fork out over 100 yuan for the phone bill? Ding Jiyi didn't say anything. When she was getting along with Jiao Nan, she always took care of her living expenses. Once there wasn't enough money for her phone bill, she would directly ask Jiao Nan for help. When she felt like eating something, she would get Jiao Nan to return home and buy over the things she wanted to eat. She got the money and Jiao Nan continued to take care of all the miscellaneous expenses. Ding Jiyi only paid the phone bills twice. However, she was already not used to it and missed her previous life very much. She didn't only have Jiao Nan as a daughter. Would Jiao Zijin, who was more filial, not be able to do what Jiao Nan could do? Ding Jiyi was very confident of Jiao Zijin. However, reality gave Ding Jiyi a slap and told her that she had thought too beautifully. Jiao Zijin was finally willing to fork out some money. She couldn't wait for Ding Jiyi to be frugal and avoid spending money as much as possible. She wanted her to use that few tens of thousands yuan she provided her with until the end of time. At the very least, before Ding Jiyi and Qiao Dongliang died, they shouldn't spend all the money and ask her for more again. As such, Jiao Zijin wouldn't care that Ding Jiyi's mobile number is in arrears, let alone take the initiative to pay the bill for Ding Jiyi. Mom, who do you think sent us to the police station today? I guess it's very likely the person who's getting married today. Why did she do that? It's all because you were usually too overboard. No wonder Nan Nan would run away and refuse to acknowledge you as her mom and me as her sister. I shan't calculate for you how much Jiao Nan used to provide you as monthly living expenses. She gave you all her salary and even had to pay for everything in the family, including Dad's and your mobile phone bills. Doesn't Jiao Nan need to lead her life? Doesn't she have to eat or drink? You used to be so overboard to Jiao Nan. Now that Jiao Nan's out of your control, are you trying to be as harsh to me as you were to her before? She wasn't as stupid as Jiao Nan. She had a full-time job and 2 part-time jobs. She earned 20 to 30,000 yuan a month. However, she spent less than 2,000 yuan on herself each month. If her mom was trying to make her the second Jiao Nan, she would smile and tell her mom to stop dreaming. Ding Jiyi's face flushed red. She dared not look at those police officers. She lowered her voice and said, "What kind of attitude is this? Am I that bad to Jiao Nan? Furthermore, weren't you the one who told me earlier that Jiao Nan was alone, didn't have a boyfriend, and had minimal expenses? As such, she could totally spend more of Jiao Nan's money." When Jiao Nan was older, Zijin told her again that there were a lot of ugly duckling men in society today. After marrying a wife, they would sleep with her. After she gave birth to children, they would spend her money. Chapter 2025, couldn't disregard. As such, it was really disadvantageous to raise a daughter. In such situations, it was like raising a daughter for someone else's son. Anyway, she wouldn't do this. If she had money and knew how to earn money, she would definitely think of ways to spend all her money on her own family, especially on her parents. After all, these people were her close relatives. They had lived together since she was young. Their relationship couldn't be compared to ordinary people. Instead of wasting a lot of money on an outsider known as husband, it was better to spend on one's parents and siblings instead. When Ding Jiyi heard these words, she thought they made sense. She gave birth to Jiao Nan and raised her to adulthood. Jiao Nan finally knew how to earn money. However, she was going to use the money earned to provide for outsiders and even be filial toward other elders, pushing her and Xiao Dongliang behind. On what basis should that happen? Rather than letting others enjoy the fruits of her labor, she should hold on tightly to these fruits of labor first. At the very least, before Jiao Nan got married, all the money she had earned should be kept in her own pockets. Jiao Nan knew how to earn money. She could earn 200,000 to 300,000 yuan a year. In 5 years, Jiao Nan would be a millionaire. On what basis should Jiao Nan bring along 1 million yuan to someone else's house and then give it to her husband and in-laws for them to spend? However, she and old Jiao wouldn't be able to enjoy this blessing at all. Under Qiao Zijin's influence, Ding Jiyi became more overbearing and started to demand more from Jiao Nan. Ding Jiyi never felt that she did anything wrong or that she had done something overboard to Jiao Nan. All sorts of unreasonable behavior were rationalized by Qiao Zijin's distorted explanations. Ding Jiyi simply regarded this set of thoughts as a guide for life. With Jiao Nan around in the past, how would Ding Jiyi set her sights on Qiao Zijin? However, now that Jiao Nan, the shield, was gone and Ding Jiyi's thinking had not changed in any way, what issue was there for her to use the set of guidelines she used on Jiao Nan on Qiao Zijin instead? Being criticized and accused by Qiao Zijin today, Ding Jiyi felt that she was wronged. How am I not good to Jiao Nan? Weren't you the one who told me that rather than letting Jiao Nan spend all the money she has earned on outsiders, it would of course be better for her to express filial piety to me and your dad? You do have quite a bit of money now. Shouldn't you be filial to me and your dad? Wasn't it just a mobile phone bill once? It was a few hundred yuan at most. Zijin was quarreling with her over such a small matter and complaining that she, as a mom, was too harsh. If this was considered harsh, then what were her demands of Jiao Nan all these years? Ding Jiyi knew it clearly that compared to her demands of Jiao Nan in the past, her words to Qiao Zijin weren't considered demands. She even had to suffer a lecture from Qiao Zijin on this. Who exactly was the mother and who was the daughter? Qiao Zijin naturally couldn't remember what she had taught Ding Jiyi. After Ding Jiyi's reminder, Xiao Zijin seemed to have some impression. Mom, this society is changing day by day. You can't keep having this old mindset and not make any progress. What's wrong with your daughter contributing a little to the in-laws when she's staying at their house? Also, your daughter has grown up and has her own life. You have to make us independent. We have to have an independent personality and financial dependence. She had already done a good job, all right? Nowadays, a lot of people still relied on their parents. She had money in her pockets and didn't think of spending her parents' money. Compared to those people who relied on their parents, she was considered a filial daughter. She didn't have so many demands of her mom. On what basis should she ask so much from her? She was Xiao Zijin's birth mom, after all. Others might not understand what Xiao Zijin meant by financial independence, but Ding Jiyi understood it. The so-called financial dependence meant that the money in Xiao Zijin's pockets was all hers and she shouldn't interfere in it, let alone take Xiao Zijin's money. This was what Xiao Zijin meant by financial independence. For money, the mother-daughter pair who had always been united started arguing in the police station. The police officers were shocked, speechless. They were talking about money the entire time and arguing in front of outsiders. No wonder this auntie's lover received their call in a cold tone. Not only was he not nervous, but he even said that he would only pick them up an hour later. The contents of their conversation were too simple. There wasn't any substance. Anyone with ears and a brain understood what the mother-daughter pair was arguing over. The mother wanted the daughter to pay the mobile phone bills. The daughter felt that the mother was not financially independent and was always finding all sorts of excuses to spend her daughter's money. Based on this conversation, the people in the bureau felt that both the mother and daughter were not good people to begin with. No wonder they would appear on that kind of news. It looked like those reports in the news were all real. After arguing for a long time, their conversation never left the word money. To them, money was more important than their lives, let alone kinship. Xiao Dongliang naturally didn't know that Ding Jiyi and Xiao Zijin were arguing in the police station. The Zai family held a lunch banquet, not a dinner banquet. As such, it ended at around 2 in the afternoon. Zai Yaowai and Miaojing sent the important guests away. Zai Hua was naturally the one to send away the younger peers. Seeing that everyone was almost gone, Xiao Dongliang stood up. Nan Nan, you're a child with blessings to follow. What happened in the past was wrong. You can't go back to the past or change anything. You're good now. Keep it that way. If I'm not around one day, I can't manage them. Do things according to your conscience. If it's something to take care of, don't push it away. If it's something you shouldn't handle, then don't take care of it. Since ancient times, only parents have raised children and children have provided for their parents. Your sister's so old now and is even a mother. There's no reason for you to take care of her or provide her for life. Your sister's terrible. Don't pay attention to her in the future. Xiao Nan nodded and addressed him plainly as Dad. To Xiao Nan, these words were too late. Indeed, she couldn't go back to the years that had passed. It was pointless to be entangled with the past. However, this didn't mean that Xiao Nan could completely forget the injuries she had suffered in the Xiao family in the past. Everything she had suffered couldn't be easily obliterated by her dad's insincere words of comfort. After comforting her, could she treat that nothing had happened before or let bygones be bygones? Chapter 2026, Thought of Ideas. If Xiao Dongliang was willing to manage Ding Jiyi and Xiao Zijin more, Xiao Nan wouldn't have led such a painful life for the past 40 years. Even if she was married to Zai Sheng now and seemed to have a good life in the future, it wasn't because of the Xiao family's harshness to her that gave her a chance to have a life filled with happiness. She had achieved happiness by her own efforts. As such, Xiao Nan marrying Zai Sheng and the pain that the Xiao family brought to her were two different matters. Xiao Nan didn't feel that she should forget all her sufferings from before and treat the three people from the Xiao family as relatives just because she achieved happiness. She didn't feel that as long as Qiao Zijin wasn't too overboard, she should still help if she can since she was her sister. Apologies, but there was no such reasoning and living standards in her world. Regardless of whether Qiao Zijin was overboard or not, she couldn't be sisters with her anymore. After all, Qiao Zijin had long done something that was more overboard. Qiao Dongliang's words didn't alleviate Qiao Nan's indifference toward the Qiao family. Okay, I understand. If you have something you're busy with, please go ahead. If there's a chance, I'll see you again. In the face of a relative who was still clear-minded, it was impossible for Qiao Nan not to want anyone from her family. Qiao Dongliang had said a sentence correctly. If it was her responsibility, she should take it up. If not, she definitely should not do so. Qiao Dongliang and Ding Ji were already at the age of retirement. Qiao Nan felt that she should carefully consider how much living expenses she should give her parents monthly. If possible, she didn't want to give money directly. She'd rather send items to the Qiao family. Qiao Zijin was too capable of coaxing. In front of Qiao Zijin, Qiao Dongliang and Ding Ji were completely lacking IQ. If all the living expenses were directly turned into items and sent to the Qiao family, Qiao Zijin shouldn't have a way to sell them, right? Qiao Zijin shouldn't be capable of doing this. As to whether all the things that she had sent over were used by Qiao Dongliang and Ding Ji and if Qiao Zijin got a free meal from them, Qiao Nan didn't care. Qiao Zijin had already taken away so much money. To be honest, even if she really got a free meal, Qiao Nan felt that this was nothing to be concerned about. Feeling Qiao Nan's coldness and indifference, even if Qiao Dongliang was feeling miserable, he could only comfort himself that this was the sin he had created in the past and he deserved to suffer from it. Oh right, Nan. Your sister was recently inspired and wanted to be a civil servant. They came to find you because of this as well. When he was saying these words, Qiao Dongliang was looking at Zai Sheng. Ding Ji and Qiao Zijin had the confidence to eye the position of a civil servant because of the relationship with Zai Sheng and the Zai family. As such, the Zai family's attitude was very important in this matter. Whether Zai Sheng would anger Qiao Nan because of these matters was similarly the focus of Qiao Dongliang's concern. When he mentioned civil servant, Qiao Dongliang felt complicated in his heart. He was also afraid and felt that it was a slip of the tongue. He shouldn't have said this at this moment. He should have secretly sent Qiao Nan a message, shared the situation with her, and got her to discuss it with Zai Sheng in private. He knew his family's situation clearly. The best result he was expecting would never happen. Furthermore, Qiao Zijin had planned to attend today's wedding and stand in Qiao Nan's and Zai Sheng's way. In the face of a person who was malicious toward oneself but had to use sincerity and kindness to love this same person, such a saint was really endangered. Qiao Dongliang wasn't a particularly smart or shrewd person. He couldn't hide his idea from Qiao Nan, let alone the person before him, Zai Sheng. After listening to Qiao Dongliang's words, Zai Sheng only stood next to Qiao Nan and had no reaction. Qiao Zijin had the thought to be a civil servant? It was a pity she wasn't capable enough. If she wants to be one, then go for it. This has nothing to do with me. Qiao Nan rejected without hesitating. It must be because Ding Ji wanted to make use of the relationship with the Zai family to give Qiao Zijin a backdoor that she came to find her. She wanted Qiao Zijin to be a civil servant so that she could easily receive 10,000 yuan monthly without doing anything. Not only was Ding Ji and Qiao Dongliang Qiao Zijin's parents now, but even the country and citizens were her parents. As such, all the taxpayers in the country had to fork out 10,000 yuan monthly to provide for Qiao Zijin. How ridiculous! Ding Ji was always straightforward. She said whatever was on her mind and always ordered Qiao Nan around in a tone that implied she had to complete it. Qiao Dongliang was different. He would always use a tentative tone. Although he knew that his thinking was too overboard, he would always bore a what-if mindset. What if the Zai family didn't mind, and what if Zai Sheng also hoped that by finding Qiao Zijin a stable job, she would find lesser trouble for Qiao Nan in the future. In that case, would Zai Sheng be willing to help? The Zai family didn't despise the Qiao family because she married Zai Sheng at the age of 40. Qiao Dongliang could rest assured since the Zai family treated Qiao Nan like she was their own daughter. At the Zai family, she could enjoy the treatment which she couldn't enjoy at the Qiao family. Qiao Nan married well and had a good husband and in-law family. She didn't have any motives at all. On the contrary, Qiao Zijin was divorced, her child wasn't by her side, and she didn't have a job. A crying child has candy. Even if Qiao Zijin had been extremely unfilial recently, indeed, Qiao Dongliang couldn't let go of her. He felt that if Qiao Nan and Zai Sheng were willing to help Qiao Zijin now so that she would naturally be able to live without worries in the future, he would die with peace of mind. He had 2 daughters. Qiao Dongliang always hoped that both of them could lead a good life. He wasn't willing to see a daughter living happily while the other gave up on herself. If Qiao Nan and Zai Sheng were willing to take care of Qiao Zijin, even if Qiao Zijin was divorced and didn't remarry in the future, she could still live better than most people. However, the premise for this was that Qiao Nan had to be willing. At this time, Qiao Nan's attitude and thoughts were far more important than Zai Sheng's. No matter if it was Qiao Nan influencing Zai Sheng or Zai Sheng making the decision for Qiao Nan, Qiao Dongliang never gave up the idea of letting Qiao Nan take care of Qiao Zijin more. Qiao Nan's cold and indifferent words made Qiao Dongliang realize that he had harbored high hopes. You feel that this has nothing to do with you. It doesn't mean they feel the same way. You know their temper. I'm not worried about anything else. I'm just afraid that even if you don't want to be involved, they would force you to be involved. Qiao Dongliang vaguely knew what ideas Ding Ji had thought of. Chapter 2027, Honeymoon. However, he barely communicated with this mother-daughter pair recently. If there was something going on, they liked to do it behind his back. As such, Qiao Dongliang didn't know exactly what Qiao Zijin and Ding Ji were planning to do. Greeting Qiao Nan at this moment was also meant to be a warning to her to stay alert. If things were to really happen then and Qiao Nan wasn't prepared at all, her status in the Zai family might change because of this incident's influence. Qiao Nan frowned. She knew that Qiao Dongliang's worries were definitely not unfounded. All right, I understand the situation. If I really run into anything, I'll think of ways to solve them myself. If Qiao Zijin and Ding Ji didn't make trouble, they would feel uncomfortable and wouldn't stop. Zai Sheng hugged Qiao Nan's waist. When Nan Nan said this, it seemed that she had forgotten he was her husband. Dad, don't worry. With me around, no one can bully Nan Nan. Not even the Qiao family. If he couldn't even protect his wife, what was the significance of this marriage today? Zai Sheng's words made Qiao Dongliang swallow all his words. That was right as well. As long as Zai Sheng was by Qiao Nan's side, no matter how much of a fuss that mother-daughter pair kicked up, they couldn't create too much trouble. At this moment, Qiao Dongliang felt that perhaps his worries were unnecessary. Nan Nan was already married to Zai Sheng. With Zai Sheng around, what else would he need to worry about for Nan Nan? Zai Sheng was around for everything. I wish you a happy marriage. I have to get going first. He said that he would go over after an hour. He couldn't possibly let the people in the police station wait for him. Be careful on the roads. Dad, goodbye, Qiao Nan said to Qiao Dongliang in a stiff manner. Seeing Qiao Nan like this, what else could Qiao Dongliang say? He naturally headed to the police station first. Witnessing Qiao Dongliang's departure, Zai Sheng hugged Qiao Nan's shoulders and let her lean against him. Let me find out more about this matter for you. Those people in Nan Nan's family really couldn't rest for a moment. Of course, if Shi Qing didn't send those 2 people to the police station, the ones who couldn't rest would probably be himself and Nan Nan. Okay. Qiao Nan turned her body and buried her face in Zai Sheng's arms. Qiao Nan was already exhausted from dealing with the Qiao family. Furthermore, Xiao Zijin's and Ding Jiyi's situations always continued without end. Not only did they use old methods, but they could also come up with new tricks. Xiao Zijin wanted to be a civil servant and asked the Zai family for help. Xiao Nan refused to take care of this, and she also couldn't figure out what ideas Xiao Zijin and Ding Jiyi had come up with to deal with this. However, one thing was certain. Once something happened, not only would she be unlucky, but Zai Sheng would be involved as well. The Zai family saw the couple watch Xiao Dongliang leave. However, none of them stepped forward to do anything. Who asked the Xiao family situation to be a little special? The Zai family didn't dare treat the Xiao family as normal in-laws. Unless the couple said something, Miao Jing and Zai Yaowai were not planning to interfere in anything. Even the most hot-tempered Zai Hua didn't dare to engage in this excitement at the moment. Don't think too much. Everything will be fine with me around. If Nan Nan said this, he could really get someone to keep a tighter watch on the Xiao family. As long as Ding Jiyi and Xiao Zijin were alive for a day, they would create a lot of trouble for Nan Nan. From now on, he had to get used to this. Jia, who had eaten her fill, walked next to Zai Hua and asked, "Mom, what's wrong with uncle and aunt? Weren't they all right just now?" The guests had just left, but they seemed to have a little conflict and were unhappy. That didn't seem like it. If there was really a small contradiction, as a big man, her uncle would definitely give in to her aunt. Zai Hua hit Jia on the head. As a child, worry less about adult matters. It's been a long and tiring day today. Rest well. Your middle school examination results should be out in a few days. Zai Hua didn't want to share much with Jia about the Xiao family's complicated situation. She felt that with her and Xiao Nan as bad role models, they might have an impact on Jia's future growth. Jia stuck out her tongue. "Don't bully me for being young. No matter how young I am, I have human rights." Jia decided that when she had a younger brother or sister in the future, they must unite on the same front. Otherwise, they, as children, were too easy to be bullied by adults. "All right, why are you standing at the door? Come back." Miao Jing broke the silence. "Zai Sheng, come over with Nan Nan." Once Miao Jing called for them, without Zai Sheng leading her, Xiao Nan also walked toward her. "Mom, what's wrong?" Miao Jing reached out and kindly pulled Xiao Nan to sit next to her. As for her son, sorry, but she couldn't care so much. "Nan Nan, isn't it trendy to go on a honeymoon now? Now that you and Zai Sheng have finished holding this banquet, are you going on a honeymoon soon too?" Of course, Miao Jing wasn't concerned about where they would go for their honeymoon. She was more concerned about them creating a honeymoon baby. After being a maternal grandma, Miao Jing had been thinking about her other identity as a paternal grandma. Since they were already married, nothing was more important than the couple creating a baby. Honeymoon. Xiao Nan felt surprised. Although this was her second time marrying Zai Sheng, Xiao Nan didn't have any thoughts about honeymoon. There wasn't any choice. In her dreams, Zai Sheng was in a critical period of career progression. Although both of them had been in love for 3 to 4 years, the number of times they had dated alone could be counted by only 2 hands. Furthermore, Xiao Nan was still a university student back then. Zai Sheng was busy with the army while she was busy with her studies. As such, when the two of them got married, Xiao Nan had just reached the age of marriage. She didn't consider a honeymoon at all. This lifetime. Xiao Nan looked at Zai Sheng hesitantly. In this lifetime, brother Zai shouldn't have the time either, right? Xiao Nan sat next to Miao Jing, and Zai Sheng sat next to Xiao Nan. "If you want to, I should be able to free up a few days." Zai Sheng's body had almost recovered. When Zai Sheng returned to Pingcheng to recuperate, not only did his body recover, but he even settled his marriage. Everyone felt that he didn't suffer a loss for this injury. Instead, he made it big. Logically, since Zai Sheng had recovered from his illness, he should naturally return to the army. After all, Zai Sheng was shouldering a lot of matters. However, no matter what, this was still his marriage. For so many years in the past, Zai Sheng had never given himself a vacation. If he needed a few more days this time, Zai Sheng felt that it wouldn't be too big an issue. Chapter 2028, Travel. A few days, how many days was that? Besides, where could Zai Sheng bring Qiaonan in those few days? Would those few days be enough for the couple to make a honeymoon baby? Thinking about how Zai Sheng had finally gotten married after a long time and how his military career might get in the way of important matters, Miao Jing was miserable. You're just like your dad. He's so old but he still talks about the military all the time. Don't you remember that you're a married man? Everyone else thinks that Nan Nan married someone of a higher status, but I think that you're the one who's letting Nan Nan down. If she were to marry any other average man, her husband would be by her side, at the very least. There was no point in getting married to a husband like this whom she could not even meet more than 5 times in an entire year. Zai Sheng's expression stiffened. This was the first day of his marriage and his mom was already putting him down. This was his biological mother, no less. Nan Nan is very clear about my situation. Mom, Nan Nan will be a better military spouse than you. From the very first day that they met, Nan Nan had never been put off by the fact that he was a soldier and the fact that he might not be able to accompany her as often as other husbands did. The only thing that frightened Qiaonan a little was the Qiao family's greed. As such, he did not think that his career would have a negative impact on his relationship with Qiaonan. Miao Jing remarked unhappily. Of course you'd say that from your point of view. I know more about the sufferings of a military spouse than you do. If old Zai had not risen quickly through the ranks such that he no longer needed to spend all his time in the military, she would not have spent any more time with old Zai than other military spouses did. Her father-in-law, husband, and son were all soldiers. As such, the women in the Zai family were destined to lead such tough lives. Seeing that Miao Jing and Zai Sheng were on the verge of starting a fight, Qiaonan immediately comforted Miao Jing. Mom, don't get upset. I know all about these things. I was already prepared to go through all that the moment I decided to get together with Brother Zai and marry him. I know that these preparations won't mean that it'll be easy being a military spouse. Mom, it's been hard on you all these years. Miao Jing shot Zai Sheng a stare. Her own son was not even as thoughtful as her daughter-in-law. You're a good kid. I don't have any other requests. I just hope that you'll lead a good life with Zai Sheng in the future and have a kid as soon as possible. Otherwise, she might not even have the strength to carry her own grandchild in a few years' time. Given Qiaonan's age, it was definitely better for her to give birth as soon as possible. A year's delay would only lead to more risks involved. Miao Jing shot a glance at Zai Sheng, wanting Zai Sheng to get it done. But her overall meaning was clear. Whether or not Zai Sheng wanted to protect the marriage, have Qiaonan as his wife, end his bachelorhood, and have a child, it would all depend on Zai Sheng himself. Zai Sheng hugged Qiaonan's shoulder. For the first time, he no longer felt annoyed at his mother's nagging about getting married and having children. However, it was only 3 in the afternoon. No matter how much of a hurry Zai Sheng was in, he had to care about Qiaonan's dignity. Nan Nan, we don't really have much time, but do you have a plan? Or shall we discuss it? Zai Sheng was unwilling to shortchange Qiaonan of anything that others had. A honeymoon did sound nice. Of course, what pleased Zai Sheng the most was that this involved only Qiaonan and him. There was no third party involved in it. Why don't you guys travel overseas? I heard that there are a few places with nice scenery suitable for honeymoons. That young lady, Jia, started throwing out ideas for them. When that time comes, you and Auntie have to take more photos for us to see. Speaking of that, she had never been to those places either. She wanted very much to visit those places too, but she could not possibly tag along, ruining her uncle and auntie's honeymoon. Seeing Jiajia's earnest desire, Zihua smiled. She would definitely not allow her daughter to tag along on her brother and sister-in-law's honeymoon. If Jiajia were really to go with them, the younger sibling that Jiajia had been wishing for would have to wait. It's just as well that you've finished your middle school examination and have a long break ahead. How about I take you on a holiday? Didn't you say that you wanted to visit Sanya, where your uncle and auntie took their wedding photos? Why don't I bring you there? We can go swimming there too. Jiajia let out a smile. All right. I don't know how to swim yet, so you can teach me. Jiajia had always wanted to learn to swim. It was just that she had always been busy learning other things, and besides, the Wei family's expenses were already quite significant to begin with, and everything came out of Zihua's pockets. Even saints had times when they lost their tempers. Zihua had long ago been filled with resentment. Before getting a divorce from Wei Dai, the Wei family had never hesitated to ask her to pay for their holidays. Of course, Zihua had never agreed. Zihua explained that the family's expenses were already costing her a lot. If they really wanted to go on a holiday, they could ask Wei Dai for money. Otherwise, if she were to pay for their holidays, Mother and Father Wei would have to bear the burden of the family's expenses for the coming few months. Zihua simply did not have that much money to pay for all of the Wei family's expenses. Since the Wei family did not go on holidays, Zihua could not bring Jiajia on holidays either. Even if it was Zihua's money, she would definitely have to bring the Wei family along if she were to bring Jiajia on a holiday. Having experienced one trip with the Wei family, Zihua had no desire to have another similar experience. Zihua had always thought that only children would be so willful, wanting to buy everything that they saw before dumping everything aside after buying them. Besides, Mother and Father Wei were from the countryside. Logically speaking, should they not be frugal people? Zihua had been dumbfounded the first time she saw the way Mother Wei had gone on her shopping spree. Because she had been newly married at that time, Zihua had no choice but to pay for whatever Mother Wei had wanted to buy. Unfortunately, before the holiday ended, Zihua had overheard Mother Wei telling Father Wei that she had only bought so many things because Zihua was the one paying for them. There was no need to refuse anything since Zihua was the one paying. Later on, Zihua had also noticed that every time Mother Wei wanted to buy something, Wei Dai would coincidentally miss that moment. He would either be browsing at the next store or chatting with Father Wei as though he did not even notice Mother Wei's habits. Zihua was no fool. Even if she was, this situation made her realize that someone was trying her as a rich fool. All those Weiss were part of the same family. She was nothing but an outsider as a daughter-in-law who had married into the family. Chapter 2029, So It Shall Be. It felt good to spend her money. In other words, her money was not the Wei family's money, so it did not matter if they spent it. Zihua always reciprocated others' actions. Since that was what the Wei family did, she decided to seal her pockets too. She would pay for what was right, but there was no way they were going to waste her money. In that way, ever since Jiajia grew up, Zihua had never been able to bring her on a holiday before. It was just as well that Jiajia had just completed her middle school examination and was on a long break. Zihua felt that this would be a good opportunity for her to bring her daughter on a relaxing vacation. Hearing that Jiajia was going on a trip with Zihua, Qiaonan suggested, "Dad, Mom, why don't you two go for a holiday too?" There was no point in the elderly couple staying at home alone. Miaojing waved her off. "That won't be necessary. You young people can do it. Your dad and I are a bunch of old bones. There's no need for us to go on a holiday." Miaojing had no interest in traveling. While she was younger, she had always been by old Zai's side, flying around everywhere. That was why she had not been able to watch her children grow up. Miaojing had never had a real holiday anywhere, but she had already been to most parts of this vast country. Perhaps it was because she had flown around too much in her youth that Miaojing had no desire to do so again. Just the thought of getting on a vehicle exhausted Miaojing. You don't have to bother about your dad and me. Just think about where you two will be going. The honeymoon baby was the most important thing to her. There's no hurry. We still have some time tonight. It'll be fine as long as we have a plan tomorrow. Zai Sheng was in no hurry and did not want Miao Jing to pressure Xiao Nan into coming up with an answer straight away. Zai Sheng patted Xiao Nan on the shoulder, wanting her to have some time to think about the matter. Xiao Nan's eyes twinkled. Brother Zai, why don't we go back to the Zai family's old villa and spend a few days there? The scenery there is good, and so is the air quality. More importantly, Qingshui town was the place where she had met Zai Sheng again for the first time. Xiao Nan thought that it was rather nice to have their honeymoon somewhere that they had decided to spend their lives together. Zai Sheng's expression was gentle. Do you really want to go back to Qingshui town? Zai Sheng felt that Qingshui town was a good place too. Otherwise, there was no way he would have met Xiao Nan in such a faraway place even after living in the same quad for a few decades. Zai Sheng felt that they had made a great decision in rebuilding the Zai family's old villa. If he were to be superstitious, his ancestors were probably protecting him. Yes. Her dad had gone to the police station to pick Xiao Zijin and Ding Ji up today. There would probably be trouble once these two women returned. Mom, Dad, why don't you guys go there with us? In that way, there would be no one at the Zai family's house. Xiao Zijin and Ding Ji knew only to come to the southern courtyard to look for them, but there was nothing they could do if they could not get a hold of them. Without waiting for Miao Jing's reply, Zai Yaowai agreed without hesitation. That sounds good. All right. I'll get your mom to pack a few pieces of clothing for us. Tomorrow, the four of us will head down to Qingshui town. Zai Hua, take Jiajia on a nice holiday. Remember to be careful and not let Jiajia get injured. All right, Dad. Jiajia's my daughter. Even if I get injured, I won't let Jiajia get injured. Zai Hua thought that her dad was being unnecessarily naggy. Jiajia was not a 3-year-old toddler, and neither was it her first day being a mom. How could she allow such a situation to happen? Jiajia stuck by Zai Hua's side, sticking her tongue out. Was it not supposed to be her uncle and auntie going on a honeymoon? Why had it become her going to Sanya with her mom and her uncle and auntie bringing her grandparents back to Qingshui town? Although Miao Jing was reluctant, Zai Yaowai had already made his decision in front of all their children. It would not be right for Miao Jing to go against Zai Yaowai's words at this time. But when the couple returned to their bedroom that night, Miao Jing could not help but ask, our son has finally gotten the chance to go on a honeymoon. Why should we tag along? Don't you want a grandchild too? Zai Yaowai rubbed his nose. The Zai family rarely organized such events and it was rather tiring. Why do you think that will be in their way of giving us a grandchild if we follow them to Qingshui town? Where did you get such a ridiculous idea from? When we first got married, wasn't my dad living with us? Didn't he go on our honeymoon with us too? But you gave birth to 2 children in the span of 3 years all the same and got Zai Sheng and Zai Hua. Miao Jing could not rebuke him after being used as an example. It was exactly as he had said. In the span of 3 years after getting married to Zai Yaowai, she had given birth to Zai Sheng and Zai Hua. At that time, Qi Minlin had deliberately put her down in front of her friends. The only thing she had done that was worthy of praise was that she had given birth to a son and a daughter for old Zai in such a short span of time. Qi Minlin had described Miao Jing as a birth-giving tool. Apart from giving birth to children, Miao Jing was not of use to the Zai family. All women would cry in anger after hearing such things being said about themselves. But now that Miao Jing was at such an age, she was already open-minded about all those things that she had not been able to accept in her youth. I just think that it was not easy for Zai Sheng to marry Xiao Nan. Shouldn't we give them some space as a couple? You know that Zai Sheng has to return to the military soon. What's so bad about giving them some space for themselves? Miao Jing stopped short of saying one thing. Xiao Nan was Xiao Nan. Xiao Nan was different from her. When she had gotten married to Zai Yayawai, she had been in good health. That was why she could have given birth to 2 children in the span of 3 years. But Jiao Nan was already 40 and her health was probably not as good as Miao Jing's had been in the past. That was why they had to give the couple some space and time for themselves. She was worried that Jiao Nan would get anxious and nervous if they were to tag along. She had studied about this. It was harder for women to get pregnant if they were in a bad mood. Miao Jing had read many books in preparation for her grandchild's arrival. When Zai Sheng had announced that he would be getting married within 3 months, not only had Miao Jing read up books on how to promote pregnancy, but she had even read about how to take care of a pregnant woman's body and how to raise children well with balanced nutrition after birth. These books filled Zai Yayawai's study room. Miao Jing joked that she had never read as many books in her entire life as she had in this 1 year. That's just what you think. Zai Yayawai lay down. Jiao Nan's a pretty good kid. She really treats this as her own family and has integrated well. Chapter 20-30, It's good to be married. I don't think that Jiao Nan feels oppressed and uneasy with us around. I guess Zai Sheng's got a good fortune. After that mistake that was Chu Chenexai, he found the right one for himself. I won't object to you reading those books, but don't you dare bring those messy relationships between mothers-in-law and daughters-in-law into our family. Our Zai family doesn't have mean mothers-in-law like that. Miao Jing was at a loss for words. Her mother-in-law had treated her well while she had still been alive. Besides, she could not possibly proclaim that she wanted to be an evil mother-in-law, right? Since her son had finally decided to get married, she would sincerely treat Jiao Nan as though she was her own biological daughter. All right, I know you mean well. But the Chiao family may be a little troublesome. It's best if we can distance ourselves from them. I heard that Ding Ji and Chiao Zijin had wanted to come for the wedding today but were stopped at the gate. In the end, Shi Qing was the one who called for the police who dragged them away. I guess Jiao Dongliang left early to get them out of the police station. If not for the fact that those 2 people had spent the day in the police station, there was no way Zai Sheng and Chiao Nan's wedding could have proceeded so smoothly. Chiao Dongliang would not dare to cause any trouble but Ding Ji and Chiao Zijin. When they had first appeared on the news, Ding Ji's shrewdness had become well known throughout the city. Do you mean that the Chiao family will turn up at our door tomorrow? So Chiao Nan asked us to go along with them to Qingshui town. Miao Jing finally realized that their whole family was leaving just to get away from the Chiao family. In an instant, Miao Jing's expression darkened. She had not known Jiao Nan for a long time, but she dared to say that Jiao Nan was truly a good kid. If Jiao Nan was not, there was no way her son would have agreed to end his bachelorhood and take the initiative to get married to her. Compared to their own children whom they had to worry about, Miao Jing could only say that Jiao Nan was like an angel. How could anyone bear to hurt such a good kid? It was truly a great blessing to have a kid whom they did not have to worry about. Her parents did not know the good fortune that they had. Miao Jing was confused. It might be alright for Ding Ji to treat Jiao Nan this way if she was the only child and Ding Ji did not have any form of comparison. However, the Chiao family had 2 children. Jiao Nan had an elder sister and Miao Jing did not believe that Chiao Zijin was any better than Jiao Nan. With such a stark contrast that came in the form of Chiao Zijin, how could Ding Ji bear to treat Jiao Nan so harshly? She was truly a wonder. That's why Jiao Nan feels at ease with us but uneasy at the mention of the Chiao family. If you really care about Jiao Nan's feelings, everything will be fine as long as we distance ourselves from the Chiao family. A honeymoon baby? Based on how much Zai Sheng cherished Jiao Nan, they might not have a honeymoon baby. They might have a baby on their first night of marriage. A father should know his son best. This night was hot and passionate for Jiao Nan and Zai Sheng. Zai Sheng was the kind of person who got more excited whenever he faced greater challenges, while Jiao Nan was like a fish washed up ashore. Aside from flapping her tail helplessly, she was utterly helpless. No matter how much she tried to get Zai Sheng to calm down, there was no way Zai was going to go easy on her apart from comforting her with his words. He had already compared Jiaonan to a fish. To fry a fish well, one had to fry it on one side and flip it to fry it on the other side before flipping it again to cook it once more. Because he was in the mood, he performed well even on the other side. As such, Jiaonan was transformed from a fish that had been washed ashore to a fish that had been completely cooked through. The result of a night's passion was Jiaonan almost being unable to crawl up from bed the next day. Even though she had been woken up, Jiaonan felt as though she had not gotten any sleep the entire night. She struggled to open her eyes and did not even have any energy to lift up her hands to put on her clothes. Seeing how the man who had worked tirelessly the entire night in such good spirits and wearing his clothes, Jiaonan could not help but grit her teeth. Had she been the one exerting her energy last night, or had Zai Sheng been the one? It seemed as though Zai Sheng had recharged his energy through last night's exercise and only she had been worn out by it. Feeling his wife's piercing stare, Zai Sheng got dressed and pounced toward Jiaonan, carrying her out of bed. It was in the middle of summer, and the temperatures were not low at all. As such, Zai Sheng was not at all worried that Jiaonan would catch a cold being out of bed without any clothes. Jiaonan pushed Zai Sheng and lowered her head. "Don't you dare! We still have to head back to the Zai family's old villa today. We might not be able to leave if we don't go now." No one in the Chiao family, apart from Chiao Zijin, had the habit of sleeping in. She wanted very much to sleep until the end of time. The only reason she had gotten up after struggling so much was to avoid Chiao Zijin and Ding Ji. There would be no point in her struggle if she were to be stopped by these two people. "Brother Zai, did you really not do anything while you were with Chu Chenxai?" Looking down at her bruised body, Jiaonan could not help but have such a suspicion. Whether it was in her dream or in reality, Zai Sheng was not one to go easy on her. In fact, he was rough and wild. As such, Jiaonan did not really believe that Zai Sheng could have gone without touching Chu Chenxai in 3 whole years. Upon hearing those words, Zai Sheng opened his mouth widely, biting down on Jiaonan's tender flesh. "Don't ask about all these stupid questions that have already been answered." Zai Sheng was surprised that he had such a passionate side too. How should he describe it? He had to say that those dirty jokes that the soldiers used to tell were of a certain standard. It was true that it felt good sleeping with a woman. Women were indeed very sweet, unlike the sweetness from a candy. It was as addictive as drugs. He wanted to eat it again and again, even after having it several times. "Shall I help you get dressed?" Knowing that Jiaonan was exhausted, Zai Sheng kindly took Jiaonan's clothes out of the closet, helping Jiaonan put them on. Of course, there was no need to talk about the fun that they had in the process of doing so.